Now let's take it back a little bit. What type of student were you in school?
I was a very intelligent but disruptive student, but I was smart. I was smart. I didn't like school. It was annoying.
Go to college?
I did go to college. I went to college for a year and a half at Clark Atlanta University at the AUC, where I met a lot of people. I met my current manager there. Met so many people my brief years in college, my brief time in college.
And you dropped out?
Yeah, I dropped out.
Why?
A couple of reasons. One, I didn't want to go anymore. Two, I wasn't eligible for financial aid because my dad was unemployed at the time. He was in between jobs. He wasn't unemployed, he was in between jobs. And because of he couldn't help me go to school, but because he was still on the tax cycle for his old job, we couldn't qualify for financial aid. So he would have had to come out of pocket, which he couldn't because he didn't have a job. So those were the two main reasons.
Ever had thoughts about going back or no?
Hell no. Hell no. No. But only because what I was going to school for and other things just wasn't applicable to my life. So I can never say that I'm not going back because it's fuck school. Because I definitely see, so many people I know that are still involved with what I do finish school and it helped them. Like my manager finished school. A bunch of my friends finished school that are still doing, big things. So that definitely, it's not for me what I was trying to do. I don't necessarily have to go to school to be a rapper. So it's no point in me going back. If I went back, it would be for shits and giggles, and it wouldn't be that fun to me. So.
Now, what's your opinion on college? Because different people believe in different things. Like some people believe in college, and they recommend people go. Other people, dropped out and became successful in life, like Bill Gates or Kanye West, for example, you know what I'm saying? And then other people recommend a trade school over college, and some people don't even recommend college. So what's your opinion on somebody thinking about enrolling into college?
I would say to you just got to make sure it's the right fit for you and where you see your future going and how applicable it is to you and your future goals. I feel like that's how you have to treat anything, but especially school because it's something that you're paying for, and it's a pretty hefty investment to take on at a very young age, and the payoff is almost just as risky, is almost just as high as not going. The risk of it. So I just gotta say is make sure that it's the best fit for what you're trying to do. I can't say no, don't go to school because for people that I know that are still very close to me, it worked out and it helps them and it's a stepping stone. But there are also certain people, even like in a la some of the people you just named, and even people that I know. You know what I'm saying? Mike Will dropped out of school. Sherman them dropped out of school. So it's just like all of my close friends in Tunai, they dropped out of school. Like I'm not even talking college. Like just dropped out. You know what I'm saying? Like 15, 16, 17 dropped out. So it has to fit for your future and what you want to do. It definitely has advantages, definitely has disadvantages. But I feel like if you weigh those options correctly, it can definitely be a tool. And I would definitely encourage everyone to weigh it as an option heavily and not just be like, fuck it, I hate school. I don't want to go.
Now, if you could go back in time, would you have done that year and a half again?
Hell yeah. If I didn't do that year and a half, I wouldn't be here. Period, point blank. I wouldn't be sitting right here. If I had not gone to school and interacted and even interacted with certain people and learned some of the things that I learned, I would not be sitting here right now. My whole life path would have been different, I think, if I hadn't done that year and a half.
Jobs you had growing up, if any?
Jobs I had growing up? Oh, man. I worked at Six Flags. I worked at Freeman Shoes, which is right downtown Atlanta, which is, they sell high-end luxury shoes for people with big feet, like basketball players basically, and like hockey players. They're like they're the name in oversized luxury, like Gators and Snakes. And I worked there. I worked on the east side. I had a job. I don't know if you ever went to like a day camp, but day camps like shuttle in like little packed lunches. I packed those lunches for summer. What else? What other job did I have? Oh, I mowed lawns. I did landscaping. I cleared out abandoned buildings, or not abandoned buildings, but like I cleared out Bandos, Like literally, like after a bando would be trapped out, and then it would be re-foreclosed or someone would try and seize the land. I was a part of the company that banks would hire to go in and clear out those homes. So yeah, I was familiar with bandos way before it was a thing. I guess it was always a thing, but that was a part of my life. What else, man? I did a lot of stuff. I sold weed for a while, if that counts as a job. What else, man? I worked at Nordstrom's, I worked at Macy's, had all types of jobs, man.
Now, a lot of these jobs, did you quit them or did you get fired?
Oh man, I quit most of them motherfuckers. I quit, yeah, I don't get fired. I'm a pretty good worker. If I ever quit, it was just basically out of like for circumstantial reasons. I never got fired. Yeah, no, I never got fired. Cause I'm a good guy. I don't cause no trouble. I just don't really want to be here. I'm not like your best worker on the team. It's not like, I'm winning employee of the month, but I'm not like a jackass. Like I come to work on time. But yeah. I've never been fired actually.
Now the bando job seemed pretty interesting. What's some stuff that you found when you?
Oh man, I actually found like I don't know what happened at this particular abandoned home. I don't know if like the dude who was like, or the group of people who was working out of this home like was also like was stashing stuff there or something. I don't know what happened, but I found like a brand new like I got this point. I guess it's like 2006 maybe or 2007 almost, in between like 2006 and 2008, and it was just like this not brand new but not brand new pair of Flint 13 Jordans. Real as hell, like with the retro card and everything. I remember it was me and my boss and the other dude who worked with us. And I was like, yo. And I was like, can I just like keep these? Like, can I just keep them on the trip? He was like, you found them? I'm like, hell yeah. And he was like, yeah. And they were my size and everything. And I was Siege from 29. I actually traded them to him for some reason, for something. It was pretty dumb. But I was like, fuck it, I got them for free. I don't give a fuck about them, so yeah. But that was interesting. And then I didn't find anything interesting. It was just crazy to see, like what was going on. Like at one point, I guess like the toilet there was just whatever. So that was crazy. And then at some point, I guess that got so filling and disgusting that I guess whatever Jays were in there or inhabiting after or, in between drug deals going down was just started like shitting in the corner of this one room. And that was wild to figure out like that's what the dark corner of the room was. I didn't know what it was when I walked in the room for me. I was like, what is that? So that was wild. But and then just other stuff like figuring stuff out, like why it was like all like hella leftover pots and glass. It wasn't a cool scene. It was just like, what the? It's like finding like an abandoned meth lab and being like, oh, this is what y'all were doing in here. You guys were making drugs. But yeah, and it paid really well. I think it was like 17 or 18, and it paid like $700 a day. But then I would only work, like it was only like maybe 2 or 3 days out the week that I would work. It was like $600 or $700 a day, but it was dope.
Now, what's the worst thing you put your parents through?
After I dropped out, I just dipped. Like I didn't like run away from home, but I mean my dad kicked me out the house, and I wasn't in school, and I didn't quit the house job, but it was seasonal. Like the bank, if the bank doesn't call for the houses or any properties, you don't have to work. So my boss had actually went back to like his old regular day job. So I just was out of a job and I was living there trying to do music, and my pops wasn't having it. He kicked me out. And I just dove headfirst into music, and I knew my parents didn't really approve, and I didn't want to hear like the school spiel or nothing. So I don't think like I talked to my mom or my dad for like 8 months to a year, in between like 8 months to a year, and I was just couch surfing, and that's around the time I started selling weed to do stuff and started doing some other things I shouldn't have been doing to be okay. But yeah, I think that was probably the hardest thing, especially since my mom lives in New York. So it's not like she could really come and check on me, and she was going through her own stuff and dealing with my family up there. And then my dad just being like, yo, why haven't I spoken to you in 5 months? You know what I'm saying? So I think that was pretty tough, but that was a long time ago. So
And you reconciled since then?
Oh yeah. My pops, it wasn't even really like a beef thing. It was just like I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew they really couldn't tell me that I couldn't, or that I wasn't going to, and I knew it was just gonna be a source of friction, and I didn't even want to hear it at the time, and I knew I wasn't gonna go back to school. You know what I'm saying? And then I knew if I told them what I was doing to like kind of support myself or be okay, they probably wouldn't be too cool with hearing that either. So it's just better to ignore them both.
Who broke the silence first, you or your pops?
My grandmother broke it for us. My grandma did that. So yeah, my grandma would just talk to us both. And she was like, look, man, that's your son. She was like, look, man, that's your dad. I know you don't like what he's doing, but, y'all got to rock. And that definitely helped. So yeah.
Now, what's your message to the youth?
Man, to the youth, I just want people to, my only message is just like, man, be unapologetically yourself to as much as you can be that. You know what I'm saying? As much as you're willing to be that. I try to be as much as myself and give as much as just me as I can into my music, whether it's just like comic book punchlines or movie shit or jokes or just anything, just so I'm more than just like an artist. I'm a person, like a all around person. I'm not just a rapper. I'm like 80 other different things after rapper. You know what I'm saying? Rapper's a big part, but I'm a son and a brother and a friend and all other types of things. But I want that to be representative in my music so people can feel like they can be all of those things all at once to a further extent. And I feel like if more people did that and embraced what they really loved and what they really wanted and accepted certain things, you know what I'm saying, then they would be able to find like their music or their art or their passion, because they would be like, all right, this is me, I know me, and this is what I want to do. So yeah, that's my message to the youth. Be you, youth. Yeah.